Eric, what's happening?
Oh, not much, man. Just One Piece. Waiting for the chapter to come out. You know, the usual.
Eric is trying to be cool, trying to be modest, but we have a One Piece professional here in our presence.
That's right. Yo, you gotta get Randy on after season 2 premieres, or?
Yeah, exactly. We got to do that. We got to keep it going. Eric debuted on One Piece episode 1093. Your first animation credits on?
Sure. My first actual animation credits. I did do a little bit of cleanup on one of the other episodes, but it doesn't really count, if I'm going to be honest. But yeah, first legitimate animation sequence on One Piece. 1093, Blackbeard Lore.
A big deal. Let's be honest. Yeah. That's a big deal, right?
It is.
So shout out to you. Congrats. Like you said on Twitter, I think it's insane for things to come full circle. And I'm shocked how many people really don't know that you made my first intro and my outro. First intro.
Not a lot of people look at the credits.
Not a lot of people look at the credits. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like kind of weird to put like, hey.
It was a long time ago as well.
What year was that? 2018?
2019, 2018, something like that.
Made the intro that a lot of people love. Doflamingo versus Cat. Eric made that intro and the outro where he's turning, it's kind of me turning into Marco or whatever the hell. Eric made those. And so now where he's actually animating on Toei, well, I guess, does it count, I guess, for Toei?
Yeah.
Right? That's insane. I think that's just mind blowing. I said this on stream a bit, but I wanted you to hear it. Like, that's like inspiring. If this doesn't inspire you, I don't know what would.
I feel like it's any career where you start at the bottom, you don't know what the fuck, how to get into it, and I don't know, more careers are like more like on track than others.
Yeah,
like,
it's more easy to see like the path.
It's kind of like YouTube in a way. Like, you gain contacts, you know, you make friends. This guy knows that guy.
All of a sudden, boom, you're on Law versus Blackbeard. How much can you tell us about how you made it to Toei?
Well, there is a rumor in the community that if you post fan art animation on Twitter on any series, a producer will reach out at some point. Been hearing this rumor for maybe 3 years.
Because you just started, you posted things before, but this year, or last year rather, you kind of really started posting One Piece stuff.
Yeah, I started doing, I started with the Yonko
right.
Fan art.
Yeah, the fan art. Which
I don't know, but I assume that's what they saw.
I mean, it went viral.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, viral.
It did. It popped off, as the kids say, you know?
It definitely popped off. 'Cause I think even when he posted like what you were working on, people's like, oh my God, what is it?
They're like, oh, it's like a professional. I'm like, yeah.
That's kind of what I am. Now, the dope thing is that you were updating people on the progress even after you were done posting different things.
Yeah.
You would like update even the animation. I think you just updated the Shanks one recently too, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go back and do the other characters' attacks and stuff.
Yeah, you know.
I'm working on Blackbeard at the moment because I got the practice for Blackbeard, so I might as well do it.
I think, like I said, that's one of the Shanks. I think I made a short about it. One of the best Shanks fan animations I've seen. It popped off, went crazy. So from there, what happened?
Just Twitter DMs, man. And then the whole process was through Twitter DMs. It's basically how it worked.
So basically people hit you up. It was like, hey, boom, boom, boom.
Hey, we're thinking about this. Let me get you some cleanup first. And then that's how it worked.
Did you have to do a test for Toei?
No test for Toei.
Is it because you had to co-sign with somebody else, or this is just how Toei is?
It's kind of hard because they're using Google Translate and you're trying to understand what they're saying.
That's something I didn't think about, the language barrier.
Yeah, the language barrier is a little bit of an issue. They're trying to figure it out. You know, you got a few English guys there that can help you out as well. Yeah, it's. I feel like if you got it early, you might be a little bit overwhelmed as to what the fuck is going on, because like it is different to Western style animation in terms of like techniques and more on the like production side, what they want, what they need. I feel like if you're too green, you don't know the basics of animation or you're like good at it, you're gonna get confused and overwhelmed by like the differences.
So can you talk about how much time you had to complete everything?
They gave me deadlines, but those deadlines shifted around when things got delayed and stuff. It was a fair period.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't feel like you were like pressed for time. It was like, all right, I have enough ample time to get things done.
For me, it was a little bit annoying. Well, it wasn't annoying. It was a little bit stressful because I was still doing my full-time job. And then
so you got to balance that.
Doing it part-time. So it's all weekends and early mornings for a few weeks. And then, slowed down, then picked up, and then slowed down, picked up again. But yeah, it's, I think next time I'll take time off.
What was the moment when you found out like you were definitely going to be animating something on this episode? What was your reaction? So this is interesting because like this is you as a Shanks fan. If you get Divine Departure, you're gonna add sauce on it because it's like, hey,
of course,
that's my
no
guy.
doubt about it.
Which kind of goes back.
I will source it to the moon.
Right? Which goes back to the episode. Something Henry said on Twitter was Henry Thurlow, who's the animator who did the sequence with Aokiji versus Cracker, the flashback. Seemingly the entire sequence we had cleanup help from different people. He said Aokiji is his favorite character, one of his favorite characters. Obviously, that sequence was saucy.
Of course.
What did you think about that sequence?
Obviously, it was well animated and well done, of course.
Beautiful.
And, it's good. I think it's good that they did the cover story in that specific context.
Perfect.
Because you kind of need it. Yeah,
you needed it. I was saying that when I was reacting, bro. I was like, anime onlys are going to be like, what the hell is Pudding doing here? And as soon as I said it.
I'm seeing a lot of dialogue on Twitter about, is this canon? Is Cracker stronger than Gear 4 punches, but he can't kill Gene Bart with the bullet? Listen. I'll say this about anime being canon and not canon. Don't use it as canon and power scaling, okay? We're having fun here, all right? Relax.
Okay, we shouldn't use the anime as canon. It is.
I'm saying in general in the animation area,
space.
Everyone wants to do cool shit all the time, regardless of power scaling or story context. That's just how it goes, okay? So don't take it too seriously, okay?
So you're saying always refer to the manga?
Yes, always refer to the manga. For anti-power scaling debates, always. Braga, I thought this was common knowledge, but...
It is not. It is not. It definitely isn't.
Going wild.
Because in a sequence like this, right, with Cracker versus Van Auger and Aokiji, it wasn't... We didn't see what happened, right? This is all extra stuff. Right? And because this is technically what happened, it's almost like people view it as in-canon filler, if that makes sense, right? So it's like, well, technically it's filler, but it's canon because we know it happened. And the animators are filling in the gaps for us. So people treat it as canon. I'll just ask you this.
For the power scales out there, do you really think Gene Bart is harder than a Cracker soldier? Just think about that, okay?
I mean, I thought it was insane.
Just think about that for 2 seconds.
And you'll have your answer.
He's got no lips. Buccaneer's got lips. I'm not sure.
Maybe he's one of the rare few. Somebody said, I'm just going to treat John Bart as a Buccaneer Lunarian so I can justify it. Okay, so like people are probably like, okay, what's happening? What are people saying? One of the things that's happened after the Van Auger scene specifically is Van Auger. Well, the funny part we saw that John Bart, we saw his scene first, and we saw how he was able to just take the attack from Van Auger, and it was like nothing, barely a scratch. And then we see the flashback, and Van Auger is one-shotting Cracker's biscuit soldiers. Now,
that's a strong gun.
Very strong gun. Very, very strong gun with the context that we know. We have. Right. That Gear 4th Luffy was needed to break through each biscuit soldier.
Maybe he's using the candy bullets, bro. You ever think about that?
I thought about candy bullets. I thought about sea stone bullets.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that's not crazy, right? Sea stone bullets. I thought about that Cracker soldiers are just vulnerable to piercing damage. Thought about the environment with Aokiji being there and how it could affect the biscuits because you already know Cracker's biscuits, they're affected by elements.
Sure.
But I needed something to justify. Or
this is all more effort. You're putting way more effort into what was put into as a power scaler on these things. It's not that complicated.
No, Eric, so here's something I thought about, right? I thought about power scaling in general because I was thinking about it and where we were, I think, in regards to power scaling 4 or 5 years ago, we're not there anymore. Like we still have fun with it, but I don't think we're as hardcore as we used to be.
Right.
But I was thinking about power scaling and I was like, power scaling is literally us trying to make sense of things that doesn't make sense.
Well, it's just power related to another character. So,
relativity for the most part.
Yeah, it has to be consistent in some regard. Otherwise it doesn't make sense. Just like this whole sequence. To me, like everything else including video games and all this shit, is just people trying to do cool shit. Leave Oda to power scale in the manga.
But here's what power scaling is, though, Eric. Power scaling, I think we try to make sense of what Oda hasn't made sense of himself yet. So, for instance, if you ask Oda some of these questions, he's going to be like, well, I didn't think of that. I was just drawing.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Sorta. I agree that Oda doesn't probably think about it as deep as we do, but I'm sure he thinks about it.
He has like a vague idea of what he wants to convey, but as far as people, oh, well, look at this here and this panel and how this character did this. If we compare it to this, it's like there's no way Oda thought of all of it, but power scaling is trying to make sense of it. So we're just collecting the information that Oda put out there, whereas like Oda doesn't even have the answers to these things because that wasn't his intent. Where I think sometimes like Oda would have a different answer than the power scalers themselves. And even if Oda gave an answer, we'd be like, well, Oda, that doesn't make sense.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes in storytelling, you got to bend the rules a little bit to service the plot.
Right.
And we know that about One Piece as well.
For sure.
So, it's like how Zoro was held up by the crab unit in Onigashima.
Insane.
And it's like, Oda, please. Or like how Luffy was kind of like held up by Ulti for no reason as well. It's like, all right, Oda, we get it. These guys are strong, but like, you don't have to do this.
You don't have to do this. Yeah. Yeah, because that Ulti thing gets a lot of traction.
Or like how Luffy was on the floor even though he could restart his heart.
Yeah.
In Egghead. It's just so Oda can like give Kuruma his moment and then Luffy can get back up.
But the Van Auger thing, I think it's really interesting because now, Eric, regardless of whether or not it should be viewed as canon, it's going to be viewed as canon. I've already seen so many posts about it. People looking at it saying, yo, this is definitively what Oda meant. I have no problem with it for a few reasons. The Blackbeard Pirates, they needed a jolt.
Yeah.
They needed it. Yeah. I'm going to just be honest. In the community, in general, the Blackbeard Pirates were not looked at favorably at all. I'm
sure the Blackbeard Pirates will get sourced in the lead incident with Garp and Kobe. I'm sure they'll get sourced.
They absolutely will, but like this Van Auger gas, because people are like, wait, this makes sense. What do you mean Van Auger is a Blackbeard commander? I'm like, sure, but that only makes sense, I guess, if you view Van Auger as one of the top guys, and we typically did not because of who his opponent is supposed to be. But then it's like, well, he has to go against Yasopp, right? And Yasopp is one of the top guys on Shanks' crew. So can he go against Yasopp and then go against Usopp?
Oda hasn't done sniper battles, really.
No.
I can't even think of one. So he might be a glass cannon situation. So one hit? Who knows? Maybe. Like, I don't know. Because
it's bullets too, so it's...
Yeah, you gotta think about how, like, Usopp's gonna handle the situation, I guess. He's gonna do some setup traps and some tricky stuff to hit him. I don't know how many times he's gonna hit him.
Let me ask you, though, with the Law scene, Law versus Blackbeard, the Rayleigh scene, the Shanks scene, when you see that hockey emanating from them, do you view it as different, or is it all one and the same? It's just cool colors?
It's cool colors.
Okay.
It's not all Conqueror's hockey. It's just flashing lights. People gotta chill out. All right.
Do you see how people can misconstrue it though?
Yeah, I can.
Because I see people starting to say Law has Conqueror's hockey now.
I think the anime goes through trends of doing stuff like this.
The aura shit in Wano.
Yeah, remember the aura shit, or like once Ishitani did lens flares, every episode after that has lens flares on it. Yeah. I think it's just trends that go through the anime at certain points. So maybe that goes away at some point, that comes back at some point. Who knows what the trends will happen.
But we should not use this as confirmation.
Don't use it as canon, because like, it's an interpretation of Oda's work. Firstly, it's not the manga. Everything else is just interpretation.
If I was an animator and they gave me the opportunity to animate Katakuri scene or Doflamingo scene, I'm going to add some sauce to it. It's going to look insane because I'm biased towards this character. And of course I have guidelines, right?